Over the last few weeks, I've been launching a number of fully AI mass page generated websites. The first being my own new SEO Jesus brand, my new rebrand, and another big one in the legal niche lawyerslipandfallcase.com. And both of these are already starting to rank within 2 weeks. So if we have a look at Lawyer Slip and Fall Case, ranking for 8 keywords and starting to get 0.09 traffic. So for 2 weeks, that's great. And this website hasn't been optimized in any way. In fact, the theme I'm using, Easy Blog Networks, I'll leave a link below. This makes deploying sites really easy with personas and themes, plugin sets. They make it really easy to get a website live very quickly. But in this case, they've actually chosen a blog roll theme where it's just got all these posts on the first page, which definitely isn't optimal. So I need to go in and change that. However, despite that, we're getting keywords ranking. So if we have a look here, 8 keywords ranking, Camden County Slip and Fall Attorney, volume 20 a month, and we're at position 21. So we're just about to hit page 2, Harrisburg Slip and Fall Attorney. So if you go back to my previous video on this, you'll see where I talked about how I don't expect to rank for Slip and Fall Lawyer New York anytime soon. But on the whole, if you take all these smaller locations with very low volumes, that can add up to a very significant volume of traffic. And you can see the cost per click here. So the equivalent cost of that traffic if I use Google Ads, we've got $24 per click and $27 per click. Now, the reason I've done this is most people are using AI content case studies targeting low value info content. Perfectly valid model where you can build a massive site that gets traffic from banner ads. But personally, I prefer to go for smaller websites that I can turn into actual businesses. So I want high ticket lead generation where I can then sell those leads or potentially actually build a business for those leads to serve. And the legal niche, especially, very high ticket, very high volume. So huge potential there. If I can make AI content work for them, then that's an incredible result. Same thing with my own SEO Jesus brand. Now, I don't generally put too much effort into my agency websites. I prefer to put that into my own projects, my clients. But with AI content, I can do at least a basic level of optimization and just see what sticks. While we're here, don't forget to sign up for my Ranking Revelations newsletter. This is where I give my sort of next level insights, which I don't reveal on YouTube. And it means you'll be first in line for any upcoming offers, anything like that, anything I discover that's really working for me or my colleagues. But back to the point, in just a few weeks, SEO Jesus is ranking with just plain AI content. So adult e-commerce, volume 20 per month, position 18. So we're on page 2 already. And this is actually one of our strongest areas. We work really well as a link building agency. We do a lot of negotiation with a lot of sites. So therefore we can actually perform very well in the niches like adult, cannabis, weapons, the kinds of niches which a lot of agencies won't touch and a lot of agencies actually struggle with because a lot of webmasters don't want to work with those kinds of niches. So links are harder to get. Often your content writers might have problems, but we've got really good processes for those markets. Besides that, we're also getting a lot of local searches. So SEO for small business, Colorado Springs, Idaho, construction companies. And again, we're between position 18 and position 48. So that's a really good result for a load of content I dumped on the site with just 10 minutes of work using autoblogging.ai. But people forget that with AI content, the trick is iteration. So people hear me talking about these mass AI websites and they say, does that actually work? Are you not going to get penalized? And the fact is, this is working for now, but will these kinds of websites with this kind of content actually stand up to any manual reviews, even algorithmic reviews? Remember, this is just basic text on a page, and the output of autoblogging.ai is very good, but how can we actually improve this to avoid a Google penalty? Now, here's a fairly typical example of what can happen to mass websites if you don't know what you're doing. So this was a case study I did earlier this year, where I published 500 posts on a website. It was an expired domain. I built it last year, literally just to be a PBN, so basically a little microsite to give myself backlinks to a particular project. But one way or another, it seemed to perform very well with AI content. So I thought, let's max this out. Let's do 500 pages and see what happens using autoblogging.ai. And the result was a lot of traffic. So it's getting some very healthy numbers in, but over the last few weeks, that has been hit quite severely. Now, the reason for that is because I then didn't do anything with the site once I was getting that traffic. It was still very basic, words on a page, no authorship, no sort of proof of what the business actually was. Didn't do any of those things that Google really looks for as signs of your authenticity. One aspect is reputation research, where basically Google manual search quality raters, these are teams of people around the world who, once your site starts getting traffic, they'll actually go and check out your website and basically how good you are, how trustworthy you are. And one of the things they do is they'll actually Google for you to try and find out what the internet is actually saying about you. So with my link building agency, we aim to include basically a kind of PIs, like guest posting, but we try to make it look like all these web and news sites have actually taken it upon themselves to write about how great you are as a proper business. We're not just trying to get you links for the sake of links. Yes, you do want those links, but we can also go that next level to try and really impress those Google search quality raters. But in this example, didn't do any of that, and so it's been slapped. It's still indexed, so it's not a severe penalty, but one way or another, Google is no longer rewarding that type of content. So what's gone wrong here, and how can you avoid this happening to you? Let me show you. Once you start getting some wins like this and start getting traffic, you actually want to improve that content. Now, I work in terms of two different types of content. One is mass autoblogging.ai content, where we simply insert the keyword, hook it up to WordPress, and it will just blast out that whole keyword list automatically in minutes. Now, that's really good for my projects, but I don't use that on client sites or sites I really care about. It's much more just a testing ground where I'm starting from zero. If I get something, then that's great, but equally I've not lost anything if there's a problem. When working with clients, we actually still use human written content, but it is AI assisted. And basically my method for actually making these mass AI sites more sustainable is to take the autoblogging.ai content and then improve it with that process. Let me show you how that's done. So we're going to take our top performing page, SEO for adult e-commerce, that's performing really well. You can see autoblogging now gives reasonably convincing AI images as well. And you can actually set up WordPress to automatically import the first image in the post as the featured image. If you use EasyBlog Networks as the hosting provider, then they actually include that plugin for you. I will leave a link below so you can get EasyBlog Networks. And now what we do is we head over to Surfer, and we're going to create a template for our target keyword, just as if we were going to write it by hand, the old-fashioned way. Okay, we have this template. Interesting that Surface brought out a new update where it says if you reach 66, they actually give you your credits back. That's really interesting. Now, what we're going to do is go back to our page and copy the whole lot. And this will tell us how well autoblogging.ai scores anyway. And that's been pretty standard with most of my autoblogging.ai tests, same with as well. They generally score around 60 to 70, so good, but not great. And what we basically want to do is improve this page. So the word count is actually there. We're missing a few topical areas. And to do this, we use a mix of manual writing, ChatGPT, and Surfer's insert terms feature. This is basically where Surfer will blast through and try to add in as many of these as it can. Now, as it stands, it looks like this page is already pretty good. So I think we can probably achieve this just with the insert terms feature. Now, I always aim for a minimum content score of 70. In the agency, we make sure that everything we publish has a minimum score of 7, but the top result is also given to us. So basically, that's the content score of the top performing competitor. So we've got 73, 75. So yes, the average might only be 65, but in this case, I want to try and get us up to 75. So the insert terms feature does take bit of time, but basically we just want to rewrite this content and improve it in as efficient a manner as possible. So I just go through accept, accept, accept. Okay, and then that's now taken us up to the 75. So now again, so we didn't need to do anything else in this case. So again, we take all that and we go back to WordPress and we simply swap out the old copy for the new copy. You'll notice this is using Classic Editor. That's because for the autoblogging.ai auto post to WordPress function, you need to install the Classic Editor. So take all that and literally just replace it with the new version. Now at this point, I'm also going to update the publish date, and this will help mix up some of those dates from autoblogging.ai because I published a lot of content in a short space of time. There does seem to be increasing evidence. There's always a debate. Do you want to get all your content out there faster and get it ranking quicker? Or do you want to drip it through to appear more natural? I used to be more in the former camp, where just get it out there. If you're concerned about that, you can just let Google slowly index it over time. Not all those pages will be picked up immediately. But on the flip side, now more and more people are doing these mass AI sites. It can help to actually distinguish yourself. So there is a theory that you should drip through that content at a slower pace. But either way, for years, there's actually been this quirk with Google where if you update the date published in WordPress, then you get a little rankings boost. And years ago, this worked beautifully. You could literally just go in once a day, update your published date, and then get a little rankings boost. So you could submit it to Search Console, and by that afternoon, you will see the immediate impact of that update. And in the past, one website I sold a few years ago, I actually installed a plugin that would automatically change the published date. And that way it always looked like fresh new content. It doesn't work so well anymore. You do still need to change something on the page to actually get that benefit, but it does still work. So what we generally recommend is if you do any changes at all to the page, even if it's just a spelling error or something like that, tweaking a heading, something like that, then update the date published because you can get that little benefit. So this is saying 30th of October. Let's bring that forward to 1st of December. So already we've done a lot to signal to Google that this isn't just plain AI content. We are a business. We are constantly improving and updating this content. Plus, we've made it better and more in line with our competitors. Interestingly, it does seem to be newer websites that are being hit with some of these AI penalties. I say penalties, it's not a true penalty as such, but it seems to be if you start a new site and publish loads of mass AI content, then you're in a more vulnerable position than an old established website that could be pumping out content all day long. They seem to have a lot more resistance. That seems to be a filter Google has been applying. So if you are doing a new site, it's worth taking these next steps to protect yourself. So let's do the same thing now for my lawyer website. I want to improve this one, Camden County Slip and Fall Attorney. Let's go with the lawyer one actually, because the actual URL and the keyword we were targeting was lawyer rather than attorney, but it's ranking for that one as well. So this one copied all the text. But again, step one, make the site decent. So you can see we've got all this coming soon. Easy Blog Networks let us add an empty about and contact page, but maybe you should turn those into not empty about and contact pages. It creates a persona for you, so that's nice and helpful. There's just a lot of time savers from using this hosting system. So step one, same with SEO Jesus. Loads of people pointed out, I still don't actually have, there's still a lot of lorem ipsum and filler text on the template. So step one, make your website look good. But after that, how can we improve the content? So here we are, Camden County Slip and Fall Lawyer in Surfer. Paste in our text. Let's just take out that metadata. So this is more of the sort of standard autoblogging.ai case study where yes, it's very quick, very efficient, and the content's pretty good overall. The average for this search result is just 64, so it's not that far off, but it's a long way off from the 75 we really want. So first of all, we can do the insert terms, but I'm suspecting in this case that might be not enough, and we might need to do some more manual / ChatGPT writing just to give it that next level. So while we're waiting for that to go through, I'm just going to show you my ChatGPT process. So first we need to feed it the article, and that might take multiple prompts. Take note of the following article, but do not respond. Did we get it through in one prompt? Yes, we did. If you didn't, just use multiple steps and say, I'm going to give you an article in multiple sections. Here's section 1, here's section 2. Now we want to go back to Surfer. Okay, the optimization has completed. So if we do accept, what does it give us now? 71. So that's good enough for me. I always say aim for a minimum of 70, but now we've already got that content ranking. We want to take it to the next level. We want to push it up to page 1. We really want to try and beat this 75. So here's how you do that using ChatGPT, because the insert terms feature alone hasn't actually been good enough. So we copy all these entities. In fact, in this case, I'm going to take out the text. This is basically rewriting the content from scratch. And now we say improve and rewrite this tool using the following entities, the number of times indicated after /. Now I suspect ChatGPT might need multiple sections, but let's see how we go with that. Yeah, that rewrite's come back a bit thin. So we need a longer article. Start writing and I shall prompt you for the next sections. And of course, if you have your own preferences for prompting ChatGPT, like use shorter sentences or avoid certain words, things like that, you can also include that. Okay, so ChatGPT's got a lot better with word count generally, but we still need a little bit more. So now we say keep writing. Meanwhile, we can start copying this into Surfer. Okay, that additional section is now done, so we can add that in as well. Now, in this case, ChatGPT didn't use headings, but you can prompt it to use headings. That works most of the time. But you can see if we start adding in these headings now, we're getting much higher content score. So we're up to 80, and that's just through adding headings to the ChatGPT output. Okay, so I don't even need to go through and make all these headings accurate. Now we just use the insert terms feature again and see if we can max this out anymore. So we're still missing some gaps in personal injury claims, personal injury attorneys. Otherwise, ChatGPT's done a pretty good job of hitting all those requirements, and that's because we prompted it with the Surfer requirement saying make sure to use these. Okay, that's now gone through. So we're currently at 80. If we do accept, 81. Remember, if your competitors aren't particularly high scoring, then it's unlikely you're actually going to get above that, because Surfer doesn't actually have the source data in order to do that. It's not got anything to actually work with. But here we are. So we're up to 8. So again, we just copy all that and then paste that back into the original document, and then we just update the date published, and then you can resubmit it via Search Console and see what the improvement of rankings is. In the meantime, we've got our content score up. Let's take advantage of Surfer's new feature and reclaim that credit.